Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be reading a multi-character thriller by 3.7 on Tumblr. So let's get into it. Xiao. Xiao has always reminded you that if you had any trouble with anyone, he would quickly dispose of them. In a flash. You trusted him. You really did. But in your mind, you told yourself that was just another burden to him. Just another person he had to deal with. He's overworked enough, is what you kept telling yourself every day you got home from your job, as you convince yourself not to bother Xiao with it. Your boss was not the kindest person, constantly threatening you with more than just I'll fire you, and it even got to a point where they would threaten to hurt you. And sometimes they did. You would finish work with a small bruise or two. Sometimes it goes so far as to draw blood when teaching you how to be diligent. But you never told Xiao. You figured it would be annoyance for him. You were wrong, of course, because he would take a bullet for you. He's already suspected there was trouble at your job. So one day followed you into Leah, without your knowledge, and patiently watched how your day went before your drunken boss came rushing to you, shouting in your face for no reason. And it took every ounce of self-control not to stick his pole arm into your boss's head. But your boss raised her hand, in a terrifyingly threatening way. And in a flash, your beloved boyfriend raced to make space between the two of you, and he unconsciously wrapped an arm around you protectively. A shroud of menacing animal surrounded him, and the atmosphere, giving them a wound in their leg as a warning. When you got to Wang Shuhen, he was all over you. He sounded angry at you for keeping it from him, furious, but his desperate eyes of relief betrayed him, and he complained. You should have told me. What if you got fatally injured at one point? Everything was scattered in his mind. The mere thought of you having such injuries irked him. I thought you'd be annoyed. Annoyed? Really? What matters to me is your safety, not how tiring dealing with a weakling is. He did pound at you before disappearing. Uh, Chow. While you looked for him, he was dealing with your boss. Blood was definitely shed, but unfortunately, it's against his contract to kill mortals. And by the end of it, he could bring all power to you, claiming you're dumb not to tell him. Give him a plate of almond tofu and some reassurance that he'll tell next time, and he'll be alright. Kazuha, a polite little pillow, always telling you he'll protect you and teach anyone who hurts you some manners. He was too sweet to lay your burdens on, always welcoming you home with a smile on his poetic words. He would rather drown than ruin the atmosphere with, Hey Kazu, I'm getting heavily assaulted by a person every day. Please help me get rid of them. The person that was assaulting you was your so-called friend. They would punch you, and even go as far as to use their vision on you, and then brush it off as jokes and all fun and games. But every day was a new black eye, and it was practically a race against the clock to get home before Kazuha did, so you could hide each bruise with makeup. And alas, it was a Friday, and Kazuha said he was getting home from his little boat journey on Saturday. So you thought it was a perfect time to start patching yourself up. So you'd put bandages everywhere in your body, thinking it'll be fine, since Kazuha's not home. Wrong! He got home early as a surprise. When he caught you bandaging practically every inch of your bruised body, his heart sank as you looked at him frantically, trying to explain the cuts on your neck. Was it a person? If so, may I have their name, Dove? His sweet smile contrasted his eyes full of murder, as you ready to sword. It's not a big deal, they're just a friend. If they're doing this, they're in no way a friend of yours, my love. Give him the name and off he goes, letting the wind guide him to that monster. When he gets home, you see that there's a speck of blood on his clothes. Not his. And he's all over you, comforting you, taking you to the cracks to ask help from one of the healers. The entire week is spent being with him, being slightly more overprotective and touchy. But you didn't mind the touchy part. Not really. Scaramouche. Despite his looks, he surprisingly has been offered a lot of arranged marriages. Due to his position, he declined all of them, of course. But there was this one woman who just would not let your boyfriend go. She would occasionally surprise him with her touches and caresses. As much as he tried to stop her from doing it, she just became even more touchy. If someone was hurting you, Scaramouche was definitely the one you would go to. He'd get rid of them in the blink of an eye and start showering you in scolds with those soft eyes of his, filled with worry and love. But the voices in your head, well, they thought otherwise. It made you think that you'd be weak for crawling to your boyfriend for help. The ex-concubine was already annoying enough. But when Scaramouche proposed to you, and you two got engaged, is when the woman started resorting to hurting you. And to make it even worse, you worked under her. You were a Pharaoh's secretary to the Harbingers, and she was about one rank below a Harbinger. And she would excuse her hitting and slapping induced with jealousy as punishment for not being a good enough secretary to the Harbingers. Behind the curtains, she'd slap you and pin you to the wall, degrading every inch of your being till you were sobbing. She was jealous. So jealous, and promised herself she'd win the Balladeer. You'd wait for Scaramouche in your shared estate, with badly hidden bruises and burns all over, and brush it off as if you were treasure hoarders. Being especially annoying. He had 100 was a lie, but decided to believe you, and just went on with his night with you in his arms as usual. At times, he would tend to your wounds if you couldn't hide them. He kept saying it was due to missions, but he still mumbled that you could tell him if anyone was bothering you each time he did. The day found out, he was about to open the door to your office, initially going to drag you out to accompany him on a business trip. But instead of your peaceful working figure, he heard sounds of distress and anger. He opened the door slightly and peeked inside of it to see you being punished by the woman he was supposed to marry. Stabbing you and pinning you to the wall, he froze for a split second in the scene, his hand itching to murder that horrid piece of garbage. And the world that was holding his self-control finally snapped when the woman ripped her engagement ring off your finger and burned it in half with her vision. He slammed the door open and interrupted the scene, and she looked at him with fear and worry in her face. She tried to make an excuse, but before she could even come up with one, he approached her with a murderous grin and slammed her head into the wall. You could almost see the blood stained on the wall that came from her head as he practically destroyed her skull. He took a glance at you as a sign to get out. He took the ring the woman snapped in half and ran away as far as he could, as all you could hear was the woman's pleas for mercy. She definitely wouldn't be bothering you from now on. In the end, he held you tightly, frowning as he scolded you for not telling him. And the ring? He bought you a ring that was like 100 times better and more expensive. Albedo. Albedo gives off such a nice aura. Chill and calm, but he's not weak. No. He's amazingly strong for someone that's simply an alchemist. He's always told you that he'll help you find a solution to any problem in your life, be it a person or something else. And truly he would. Once you lost your favorite necklace, which costed an arm and a leg, and you couldn't find it, so he made a new one for you, which is bigger and better. But a person, if you asked him straight up, he would actually help you straight away. But just look at him, hacking away at his gadgets and his face situated in dragon spine. He looks so worn out. It's been a busy month for him, and you would never forgive yourself if you made him more stressed than he already was. So now you come home to your shared home every night, greeting the side figure with a hug and a kiss on the forehead, while you ignore the bruises from them that you'd been hiding for a while. It started maybe a month ago, after finally getting a spot in your dream job. You worked under someone who loved abusing their power as the one in charge of your group. He threw profanity here and there daily, as he threatened you constantly, and pointed at you whenever there was a mistake in your work. He would go so far as to slap you in front of your colleagues to warn you. You felt weak in front of him. And good Arkans, you wanted help from Albedo so bad. You wanted him to get rid of your boss and comfort you, but you couldn't help but bury the thought into the ground as you see a new layer of eye bags growing underneath his eyes. The night you found out, you were in your bedroom, supposedly alone, caressing the bruises on your arm that were given from your boss. It stung, and you hissed each time your fingertips had the red skin. Tears ran out your eyes before you suddenly heard the door to the bedroom open. You scrambled to try and cover the bruise and the healing supplies, but you're too late. Albedo had already seen that gnarly bruise on your arm. Before you could excuse the bruise as something you got from commissions, he took a hold of your wrist and looked you in the eye with genuine worry. Love, I'm not sure that's the type of bruise you get from commissions. Is someone... Yeah, I had a hunch. That was right. You've been acting uncharacteristic lately, and the look in his eye felt like a threat to whoever had done this. As he tried to change the topic, seeing you fell down, or something, he got even more suspicious, approaching you cautiously, with worry in his eyes before you snapped. He explained to him what your boss was doing to you, degrading you and going as far as to hurt you over a mistake in your paperwork. It angered him inside. He was furious, but his expression stayed stoic and calm. With the slightest tension, he pulled you into a gentle hug as he teared up, caressing your bruise lightly and softly, whispering praises for getting through that. Through anyone's ears, he may sound stoic, melancholic, but through yours, he sounded ever so soft. At night he held you and tended to your bruises, giving you as much care and love as he could, patting your head, holding your hand, helping you with everything, whispering in your ear, as you two fell asleep, that you should have told him, and he would have dealt with that. He assured you something as serious as this would never be a burden. He's not usually such but he is now. The next morning, you dropped everything and went to Jean for help in ridding your boss of his position. Being friends with Jean, and the chief alchemist with a nice of Ivanius, came in handy sometimes. And that man was not going off without warning, of course. A harsh, rough, slightly physical warning. I was just scared you'd be busy and annoyed, and how busy I am doesn't matter. If someone is hurting you, my love, don't hesitate to tell me next time. He sighed and kissed your forehead while trying to assure you that if anyone was giving you trouble, he'd take care of it swiftly.